What is going on here, dude?
This is like all of Tokyo is here.
No, this is like crazy.
I'm looking at a crowd of thousands of people packed into a single street.
This is the busiest day to come, but this is when the locals come. During the week, there's just
Where
tourists.
are we exactly?
Harajuku.
Harajuku is Japan's capital of cute. There are animal cafes everywhere you look.
Look at this. This is insane. There's so many people.
Places where you can have a coffee surrounded by mini pigs, puppies, owls, or even baby otters.
Look at this cuteness over here, cuteness over there, cuteness over there.
There are rainbow desserts, chocolate-covered pizzas, stuffed animals, pink-haired girls in pink jackets and pink platform shoes, and even some stuff that borders on creepy.
That's like one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen, though.
We're here to meet Joshua Paul Dale, one of the world's top authorities on cuteness.
Hey, Joshua.
Hello.
Nice to meet
Hi.
you.
Nice to
How
meet
are
you.
you?
How are you?
Hi.
Vanessa.
Great to meet you, Michael.
He's an expert on all things cute, or kawaii in Japanese.
And this is the cute cube right here, which is just a store filled with cute things, I guess.
Several stores. Filled with
Several
it's like a mini
stores.
cute department store.
Oh, you're kidding. That's what it's called.
But listen up, because this is important. Cute and kawaii aren't the same thing.
So Gothic is considered cute?
Right. Gothic is the people who wanted to express a super cute, darker style.
And cute isn't limited to just this street. In Japan, there are cute things everywhere.
Okay, so where are we going right now, Joshua?
We're coming up on the Harajuku police station. And I'm taking you there because outside the police station are these two small statues, cutified statues of police officers.
On the subway, there are cute penguins telling you where to go.
Everything around you is cute. If you really look around, look at the subway signs. Look at, there's all these cute little characters. Look at there's frogs all around, there's little ducks.
So what's up with all this cute stuff? And why does it matter? Well, I soon found out. Cuteness is at the center of everything. I'm Michael Motometti, and you're listening to No Fixed Address, the world's most extraordinary people, presented by Matador Network. 2 years ago, I quit my job as a marketing executive and decided to travel the world with my wife
Hi, I'm Vanessa.
and our baby daughter. We sold our home, our cars, packed a bunch of clothes into a small suitcase, and now live in a new country every single month. And something I've come to love about living on the road is the people I meet. So I decided to start a podcast. That way you can meet them too. Well, if there ever was a time where I didn't feel cute, this would be it.
In Japan.
In Japan, in Harajuku, I literally am this big, hairy, burly man walking around these streets with all these beautiful, cute, dainty people, things, stuffed animals, flavors, pastries.
At least you didn't get called freaky by an Italian family.
Oh my God, did it happen to you?
Yeah, they were like, she's freaky.
Yeah, that's because you weren't cute enough.
That's true. They were expecting cuter.
At the end of the day, what I got out of this conversation is way more profound than I ever thought. I thought that this conversation was going to be something cheeky about cuteness, and where we ended up was that everything, and I mean everything, is because of cuteness.
And it definitely changed our worldview. We got on the subway before this. We got very, very confused going to meet Joshua. And then we got on the subway after, and we were like noticing all of these things that we had missed on the way there. Cute little pictures, authority figures, cutified.
Yeah, and I guess in essence, it really does make you feel a little bit more comfortable and more relaxed when things are cute.
Or if it's the right kind of cute. In Japan, there's all kinds of
Oh
different
my God, the
cutes.
creepy cute, the murder cute, the killer cutes, the gothic cutes.
But there's like a macabre cute or something like
Macabre cute. I know, but honestly, back to what I was saying, like what you're going to get out of this conversation is something you're never, ever going to expect. Let me just tell you like this. I'm not going to give it away. This is not a spoiler alert, but we would not be here today. You would not be listening to this. I would not be recording this if we weren't cute.
Remember, it's a theory. It still needs to be proven.
I believe it. I'm done. And I'm not even the cute guy. So that's what I'm saying.
I also loved Harajuku and walking around. It was one of our first days in Japan, and that crowd and that noise. Joshua said something while we were walking. He said Japanese people love crowded places because it brings the energy up.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I loved Harajuku, but there was some things that just rubbed me the wrong way, like the otter petting and the pig petting and the animal. I mean, there was anything you wanted to pet, you could pet. I mean, honestly, if I was a little cuter, they'd probably put me in a cage and you could pet my hairy ass.
I don't think you got to worry about that.
But honestly, it was a very cool experience, but there was some things that kind of teetered on my values and my morals and the way that I like to live. But again, to each their own, right? I mean, who are we to judge?
And who are we to know what's cute?
Well, I'll tell you who knows what's cute.
That's why we got Joshua.
Mr. Joshua Dale, who is an absolute gem to speak to. I can't wait for you guys to hear this conversation. I promise you, this is going to be your dinner conversation at your next party, and you're going to be the coolest person in the room.
Joshua is a professor at Chuo University in Tokyo, one of the oldest and most prestigious institutions in Japan. He's the author of Irresistible: How Cuteness Wired Our Brains and Conquered the World, which takes you from the ancient origins of cute all the way to present day. That's like 12th century artwork to Hello Kitty and Pokemon and a whole bunch of other cute stuff you've never heard of. And that's the thing about cuteness. There's something about it that flies under the radar. It's understudied and overlooked despite it being everywhere all the time, which is part of the reason Joshua pioneered a new field of studies, cute studies. And what's cool is that it breaks down cuteness from a biology perspective, cultural perspective, historical perspective. It looks at gender. We're getting a really good picture of how important it really is and how cuteness affects our everyday lives. Joshua has been featured as an expert on cuteness by the New York Times, CNN, National Geographic, The Guardian, and now he's here with us on No Fixed Address, the world's most extraordinary people. We met him in Harajuku at a Snoopy-themed cafe where there's Snoopy art on the walls, Peanuts characters everywhere, and larger-than-life plastic Snoopy dolls scattered all over the patio.
Just so you know, this episode is sponsored by Guide Geek. If you're booking a trip, check out Guide Geek, a new way to plan travel. It's an AI chatbot built on OpenAI, but what's cool is that it's actually curated by human travel experts at Matador Network, the world's largest independent travel publisher. I've been using it for a while now, mostly on WhatsApp, but you can use it on Instagram Messenger too. I often ask for advice on what neighborhoods to stay in when I'm booking accommodations, or you can get a little deeper and ask how Anthony Bourdain would enjoy a specific city. It's amazing. Head to guidegeek.com to try Guide Geek for free and start planning your next trip. That's GUIDEGEEK.com to start planning your next trip with your newest AI travel assistant. Joshua, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm glad to be here.
Before we get on to your story and why we're actually here, tell me about where we are right now. It's a pretty interesting place.
We are in Harajuku. It's the epicenter of Japan's kawaii, cute culture, and a real hangout spot for young people, I would say.
It's extremely crowded, too. It's sensory overload, is it not?
It is, yes. We walked it twice. We walked all the way down and all the way back up.
And it's like, I don't know, in a strange way, it feels epitome of Japan to me. Like, I'm staying in Shinjuku and in Koreatown and Okubo. Am I pronouncing this stuff right? I feel like I'm kind of doing it correctly.
Yeah, Shinjuku, yeah.
I just feel like, I'm proud that I'm getting the pronunciation. But when I think of Japan, I think of this street in my mind, even though I never know it existed. I'd never heard of it. but just these colors and puppies and pigs and like it's just cute.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Tell us, how did you end up here? Give me a couple sentences, a nutshell. I'm talking from the beginning, since you moved to Japan or before that even. We'd love to know.
Well, I was bored living in the United States. I mean, I think that's the main reason I originally came here.
What year was this?
This was back in the early 90s
Okay.
when I first came here. I was in grad school, which was great intellectually, but culturally, I just wanted something new. So I had a chance to take on a position in a Japanese university. So I hopped on the plane, and when I got to Tokyo, I just found things like we just experienced today, and it just blew my mind. It was so different than the US, but also familiar in a strange way. And I felt like I was both in the past and in the near future at the same time.
Whoa, trippy.
I'll give you an example of it.
Yeah, I want to,
From
yeah.
Harajuku. So back in the 90s, this is pre-internet. And right over beyond us, next to the train station, every Sunday, these small bands would come up and set up and play. And it was very Japanese. They had enough distance between each band so that they didn't interfere with each other's sound. And you could just go and hear a couple dozen bands every Sunday. And one group that always showed up didn't play instruments. They put down a boombox and they played rockabilly music from the 50s. And they dressed in blue jeans and white t-shirts and black leather jackets. And they danced. And that was their thing. You know, that's what they did, these group of guys. So that was like being in the 1950s. And
Yeah.
just down the street from here, there was an old apartment building that had been built in 1922, like the Art Deco style. And it was being used as a warren of little tiny shops, some of which sold vintage fashion from the 1920s and 30s.
Wow.
So you could go back to the Art Deco times or forward to the post-war 50s or, see what was going to come next in terms of world culture. It was fantastic.
It seems like time travel a little bit.
Yeah, that's what it
have
was
you
like.
guys heard of the Elvis crew that's here? And they all get
Oh, what's
together.
that?
I don't know. It's a bunch of guys. They all get together, dress up like Elvis, and play Elvis music all day long, and just have.
Just like around the streets.
Yeah.
We got to go see those guys.
Yeah, we got to go see them.
I just saw Elvis the movie, so I'm up on my game on my
You have
Elvis
your
game.
history.
Yeah.
And then after that, you were in love?
Yeah. Once I hit Tokyo, I had never lived in a really big city before. And I just thought, wow, this is fantastic. And then I wanted to stay. So I did.
As soon as I landed here a couple days ago, I felt like comfortable and also foreign
Mhm.
and also culture shock,
Mhm.
but safe. I mean, it was a big kind of emotional change for me, but also very similar. I mean, it's these weird juxtapositions, kind of like you're saying, future and past and
Right.
comfortable and not. And out of all the places that we've been, the language barrier is the toughest for me here. I mean, most places that we've been, there's been communication. I mean,
Well, at least there's like an alphabet you recognize.
that's true. Yeah.
You know?
I remember my grandparents traveled a lot after they retired. And that's where I first got interested in travel, hearing all of their stories of all the places that they went. And they made it once to Japan back in the 1970s when it was quite unusual to come here. When they got back, my grandfather said, Japan is the most different place to all the other destinations we've ever been to.
Yeah.
And yet it's the place I felt most at home.
Wow. That's what I'm trying to describe.
Yes.
And I think that's because and again, I'm talking as an American, and your grandfather's talking as an American,
Yeah.
right? So I'm not talking about every foreigner that's here, but there is this American sensibility here, right? Or vice versa. Maybe there's a Japanese sensibility over there, whatever, right?
Mhm.
Cool music, great food, a diverse culture. It's pretty interesting.
I think that first American culture came to Japan, and now it's flowing in the reverse direction. So we're familiar with it now because our home has become a little bit like Japan.
There you go.
Yeah.
A full circle. Okay, so you moved from Seattle to Tokyo. You fell in love,
Mhm.
and from there you decided to stay. How did we get to the cuteness?
10 years ago, I just began to notice that there's all this cute stuff around. I mean, of course, I knew about it before then, but it really became apparent to me when it started to move into the public sphere more. Like we walked past the Harajuku police station today,
Mhm.
and there are these little statues of police officers outside that are about half size, and they've been cutified. All their proportions have been made cuter. And I remember walking outside one day and seeing that all the road construction barriers had changed, and they weren't like orange and white stripes anymore. Instead, there were these long rows of Hello Kitties holding rainbows
Wow.
to tell you not to go somewhere. And that was not just Hello Kitty. I thought it was a tie-up with the company Sanrio at first. But then other construction barriers were like frogs or rabbits or dolphins. It was just a new way of intervening in public space by giving people something that they enjoyed while telling them that they couldn't go somewhere or they couldn't do something.
Negative and a positive.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought, well, what is going on with this? So I'm an academic, I'm a professor. So I started to read and do research. And I first looked at the material that had been written by professors about the cute aesthetic in the United States. And they said that cute and kawaii were the same thing. Like there's just one big like cuteness.
And
thing.
pronounce that word for us.
Kawaii.
Kawaii.
It's like Hawaii, but
with a K. Okay.
What is kawaii?
Kawaii is the Japanese cute aesthetic. So the word itself means cute. It's similar to the English meaning, but the way that cute culture has developed in Japan as compared to the United States is distinctly different. That's what I wasn't finding in the stuff that was written by American professors. And I looked at the stuff written by Japanese studies scholars and by Japanese professors, found that there was still remarkably little of it compared to how much cuteness there is here. And they did recognize that the aesthetics were different, but they didn't talk about the American cute aesthetic. They were only talking about Japanese cuteness, kawaii. So I started thinking, someone should put these together, put these ideas together, and also put these people together. And at that point, I also found that scientists had been studying cuteness for like 60 or 70 years.
Really?
There was most of the work that had been done was scientific research, mainly people like cognitive psychologists doing big surveys of people saying, what kinds of things do you find cute?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason scientists were doing this is because cuteness is a human universal. They were interested in not the cultural aspects, but the universal aspects. Why did we evolve to feel this feeling in the first place, and what triggers it?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what really, really got me fascinated. And I thought, I want to put all these people together, the scientists and the Japanese studies people and the people studying the American cute aesthetic, everyone.
You're like basically
see what we
connecting
do.
all these dots together.
Yeah.
And they're all happening separately.
Yes,
Everyone's talking about it in their own little bubbles.
exactly.
And you're bringing it together.
Yes,
Because obviously, as humans, consumers, viewers, we're also living and breathing it all the time too, subconsciously, consciously, whatever it may be. I mean, we talk about it all the time, where it's like you might feel something and not really know why you're feeling it, right? So, what happens in the brain when something cute is in front of you?
when you feel that something is cute, first it attracts your attention right away, within 1/7 of a second. And they found that out by putting people into MRI scanners.
Now, is that
And
more
scanning
than
the
something that's
brains.
not cute?
Yes,
Okay, so something that's not cute compared to something that is cute is a slower.
that's right. 1/7 of a second, which
Wow.
is faster than conscious thought is possible. And this is a clue that cuteness must have been important to our evolution, because it's very important that we pay attention to cute things right away. And the reason it's simple, we evolved to feel cuteness because human babies need a lot of care and they need a lot of socialization.
Even if you're a caveman, let's go back that far,
Mhm.
and there's a little baby otter, it's cute. That doesn't change.
And the reason that otters are cute as well as human babies is that it works so well for us with our own species that if the cuteness detector fired for a baby otter or a cat or a dog and a puppy or kitten, it didn't matter because it was all good. It's a net positive that we're taking care of cute things.
Yeah.
If it spilled over, then it was okay.
So obviously, 1/7 of a second, your brain is understanding something is cute.
Yeah.
Right. In a nutshell.
Yeah.
But what's happening to your brain?
Okay.
Yeah.
So after it attracts your attention, then there's time for a cognitive appraisal process where you decide if you're going to do anything or not based on your feeling of cuteness. Because, we do have some element of choice in this.
Yeah.
But if you feel that something is cute, your brain starts releasing oxytocin and it stimulates the pleasure centers of your brain.
Wow.
And basically, it prepares you for behaviors that are highly social, compassion, empathy, and take care of things. It increases your fine motor control.
Holy shit.
One of the most interesting experiences.
Just by seeing something.
Yeah, just
Like
by
you don't have
seeing
to
something
interact
cute.
with it yet.
That's
You're
right.
just seeing
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Holy shit.
This is not a tangent, I promise. My colleague Hiroshi Nitono at Osaka University did this great experiment with the children's game Operation.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Love
Little
it. Love
tweezers.
it. Yeah.
He had people look at pictures of kittens and puppies and then play the game Operation. And then he had them look at pictures of adult dogs and cats and play the game Operation. They did better after looking at pictures of the kittens and puppies.
Because they want to be more gentle.
Yeah, increases your
Caring.
fine motor
Yeah.
control. Exactly.
Because it's, you have to be more, I guess, weary and sensitive around babies,
That's it.
right? Because
Exactly.
and it's interesting. Our daughter's 2.5 years old. You see the difference when something really small comes around, and she walks up really quietly. You know what I mean? And she calls everything baby when it's small, like baby lizard, baby mouse. And then if it's a big dog, she's kind of scared of it.
Right, sure.
You know what I mean? So there's a difference in that reaction and that, I guess, that interaction that she's having with whatever that being may be.
But that's fascinating that it, in some way, seeing something cute has a positive effect on your performance. Like it's not
Just your
performing.
attitude, your
Yeah,
performance.
It's your behavior. It's changing.
So they need,
Sure.
like, in surgeon rooms, just little baby
That's
cats.
true.
That's right. They need videos of kittens and puppies.
So, I think,
Can't knock your doctor anymore for watching TikToks before an operation.
well, dude, TikTok has got some pretty evil stuff on there.
Cat.
Okay, yeah, little kittens. Are there certain things that are just objectively cute and then certain things that are subjectively cute? The reason why I ask is because I walked up and down Harajuku, the street. Some of the stuff was terrifying me personally, right? But I can see maybe that they were actually trying to be cute.
The basic characteristics that make something appear cute to most people seem to be common across cultures around the world because they're characteristic of human babies, which are also common to all
Like
cultures.
big
around the world.
eyes and
Right.
yeah.
Big eyes, low set, and a high rounded forehead, and chubby cheeks, and short arms and legs, things like this. It's called the child schema. It's not like guaranteed 100% to make every single person in the entire world feel cuteness, because there are some, individual variations and context.
And
matters a lot.
psychopaths that might look at a baby. It
Yeah.
sounds funny, but like
Yeah,
psychopath might look at a baby and not think it's cute.
people without empathy. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a basic schema that most people will respond to. But beyond that, there's a cultural element. And this is where subjective elements come in. People can play around with cuteness.
Yeah.
Companies can play around with it to try to make us buy things. Artists can play around with it to try to elicit various responses along with cuteness. And they can sometimes bend it so far that it goes into other territory and no longer appears cute to a lot of people. So that's
Tell me
one of
about
the-
that. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just overkill?
Well, it depends on the person again. So if you have something that you may not think is quite cute, the next person who comes along might go kawaii and think it's really cute. And that's
First
what's
of all,
happening.
Before we go, you have to do that again because I just loved that. Okay.
Yeah, so in Japan, kawaii culture is I think of it as quite advanced. It's been here a long time. People are kind of bored of the ordinary, usual cute things. So they keep inventing new combinations of things to try to expand the palette of cuteness.
I
It's
heard
an evolutionary thing then?
Culturally evolutionary.
Culturally evolution. Yeah, of course.
It's cultural evolution, exactly. So we have creepy cute and grotesque cute and
I
ugly
just
cute.
heard about grotesque
Mhm.
cute, and it's like
Tell me about this.
it's something you'll know better, but it's like a teddy
I gotta
bear.
Google
What
this.
like the main person is a teddy bear with like blood on his fingers.
Gloomy Bear
Gloomy bear.
by Mori Chak. Yeah.
Okay, let me
Yes.
just Google that.
Because Gloomy Bear, I guess, like gnaws at their owner, and that's why they have blood on their hands. Is that right?
Yeah, the designer, Mori Chak, he realized one day that people think bears are cute because of teddy bears, but they're actually wild animals that can actually hurt people. So he designed a giant pink bear who is loved by a boy whose name is Pity.
Okay.
And Pity loves Gloomy Bear, but Gloomy Bear often attacks him because Gloomy Bear is a real bear, even though he's pink. And bears attack people sometimes. And so that's why Gloomy Bear sometimes has blood on his teeth or claws, and Pity often has blood over his entire body. And yet Pity keeps
And it's
loving
cute.
Gloomy Bear.
And it's still cute.
Yeah.
That's
mean-
grotesque cute. It's a
Grotesque
new
cute.
evolution, a culturally evolution of cute.
That's right.
I will tell you this though, there is a sense of importance when it comes to visual elements and cuteness because you describing that is scary, right?
It works
The-
both ways, though. I mean, you're absolutely right. You won't think it's cute unless you see Gloomy Bear. But once you also know the backstory, that there's a real relationship between the boy and the bear, then it sort of tugs your heartstrings more.
Context.
And it's more, yeah, exactly. And you're more likely to think it's cute after you know the backstory.
If you're enjoying No Fixed Address, the world's most extraordinary people, we know you'll enjoy Travel That Matters. This season, Travel That Matters is interviewing master chefs like Wolfgang Puck and Danny Meyer, the founder of Shake Shack. Wolfgang Puck talks about his culinary adventures, including the time he was presented with 120 pounds of camel meat, and delves into how his love for travel has shaped his innovative approach to blending local ingredients with international flavors. Danny Meyer explains how childhood travel experiences shaped his restaurant empire and explores the power of family travel, the culinary scene in New York City, and innovative trends in food. Step into the exclusive world of luxury travel on the podcast Travel That Matters and open the doors to top food, adventure, and experiences. Find Travel That Matters wherever you listen to podcasts. Talk to me about, and this is an actual personal thing that happens to me prior to having a child. It happened more. But when my wife thinks that I'm really cute, squeezes me very hard. She does it to our dog. Now she does it to our child. And it hurts. Like, it's like, please stop this. This actually hurts. What is that? Like, what is that cuteness aggression?
I suffer from cute aggression. It's a problem.
That's what scientists call it. Yes, cute aggression.
What is it?
It's basically cute overload.
Okay.
And they call it a dimorphous expression of emotion. It's like when you laugh until you cry.
Okay.
You're not sad.
Got it.
You're just laughing so hard that your body doesn't know how to deal with it. And so you end up crying too. And
Which
that's
is the
what
best
happens.
feeling in the world, by the way.
And your fist might clench, or your teeth might clench, and your vocal pitch usually rises. So you're like, it's so cute, it's so cute, it's so cute, like that. These are all signs that your body is expressing this tension in a way so that it won't hurt the cute object. So cute aggression is a bit of a misnomer. It's kind of misnamed because it sounds like we want to hurt the cute things, but of course we don't. And you just told me even your 2-year-old daughter knows that she shouldn't hurt small things. That's one of the first lessons that children learn.
So you got to stop hurting people.
I'm just squeezing.
Even our dog would like yelp because she'd squeeze too hard, you know? You know what? You did bring something up, and it reminded me when you were saying cute, cute, cute. You know that impression that you were doing, and it kind of gave me it triggered something for me that I don't think we've talked about yet. Is it more female oriented, right? Or are men masking it? Are men masking their love for cuteness? Or is it really just affecting females more? Because you see females, oh my God, it's so good. Right. You don't see a lot of men doing that. Well, at least heterosexual men, right?
That's an excellent point. And it's one of the problems that the scientists doing these studies are facing when they're getting people to self-report their feelings. They're wondering if men are sort of automatically, even subconsciously, kind of muting down their responses. Maybe not inside their body, but when they put them on paper. That's the issue, like when they fill out the survey.
Because then it becomes real. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I thought that was cute.
Yeah.
They don't want to say that.
So they have various ways around this. For example, scientists will use eye tracking to see how long people will look at cute images, even if they're not aware of it. And they have found a little bit of a difference, gender difference between men and women, but not very much. But there is a cultural difference, as you pointed out. And cuteness in many cultures around the world is more associated with women's culture than men's culture, especially young women's culture. Places like Japan, it's a major part of young women's culture and a key element to describing the whole development of kawaii in Japanese culture. Young women were key parts of that.
I was reading, I was telling you about it, that sometimes masks, surgical masks, are used. You kind of always assume it's for germs, but sometimes they're used because women especially don't feel kawaii enough that day.
Oh, yeah, that can be true. I mean, I don't want to say that cute or kawaii is always positive. So sometimes it can have negative elements. Like if people, for example, people's self-image, if they feel they have to be something, present themselves in some way to the world, then that's not good. I think people should be able to express themselves as they like. So yeah, it's possible that people are wearing masks in order to cover up something that they feel isn't there.
Or, I mean, we were walking down the street and there was literally an otter cafe. I mean, I've heard of cat cafes and dog cafes, but an otter cafe, which is to me, at least, when I think of an otter, I think of a wild animal. I think of a bear, right? I think of a sea lion. Being trapped in four walls. God knows how many were in there, but there was like 10, 15 images of otters with names on them. That's kind of cruel.
Yeah, I don't agree with things like otter cafes.
Yeah.
And
where does that come from? This is just money. It's money, right?
Well, it comes from money, certainly. That's what the owners want.
Yeah.
But there also have to be people who want to go in and see those otters as well, right? So the thing is, sometimes we're attracted to cuteness too much. So I think that we have to kind of monitor ourselves and think, okay, that's super cute, because we both thought the baby otter was really cute, right?
Oh my
God,
but
we did not go into,
I was like gravitating towards that cute
but we didn't go in.
But we didn't go in, exactly.
But we didn't.
But
So
I mean,
that's
you're asking humans to have self-control, which is very difficult for humans. I mean, we all know that, especially in consumerism and capitalism. I mean, it's just all these tools are at our disposal, and these companies, all they want us to do is spend money, right?
Yep.
The first time I was thinking, when I realized we were going to have this conversation, I was excited. So I'm a marketer, right? So many things started coming through my mind, right? Brands that use cuteness in everyday life that we don't necessarily know we're buying into them because they're cute. We just think, oh, that's the brand's mascot, right? Geico has a lizard, or what is it?
Gecko.
A gecko, of course. Gecko. There's other animals that people use all the time. Oh, the Charmin, for example. Charmin with the toilet paper's little bear with a little cute little,
bear family,
poop on his backside or whatever, right? I mean, companies are taking advantage of the science of cute.
Absolutely. Yeah, and they've been doing it for at least 100 years. That boom started in the United States in the early 20th century with images of cute children on products.
And do you think that is negative or positive or neutral, or?
Well, it's part of capitalism.
Yeah.
So
it's just life.
Yeah, exactly. When I think cuteness incurs harm, I think of things like bulldogs or pugs, flat-faced dogs that have been bred to be so cute that they have breathing problems.
Oh my God, yeah.
And, I don't really blame the owners of the dogs. They just want to take care of their pets. They have sympathy and deep feelings for their pets. But I do put some blame on the breeders. I don't think those dogs should be bred to have be so cute that they have breathing issues.
But doesn't it go back to your earlier statement that it's the human lack of self-control that makes the breeders breed? If there wasn't a market for it, the breeders wouldn't be breeding it.
That's true, but we have to ask ourselves, where does the ethical responsibility lie?
True. And it's more on the breeder.
That's what I would suggest.
Well, I'm wondering, as you're saying that, our actions really, as breeders and everybody, has led to the domestication of dogs in general. So we have kind of had an effect on their appearance.
That is true, but it happened much later than people think. I mean, in the 19th century, that's when many, many breeds of dogs were invented because of consumer desire. It became trendy to have a dog among the emerging middle classes in Britain and the United States, Europe. I think that the very origins of dog domestication, back when dogs were still wolves, the story of how they became dogs, impetus was on as much on their side as it was ours. In other words, I think that there
on
were
the dog side.
Yeah. I think that there were a few wolves who were born with the mutation that made them less afraid of strangers,
Okay.
more amenable to a cross-species attachment, and just a little bit in the beginning, like maybe they didn't run away as fast or as far. So those wolves were able to probably live closer to humans and especially eat the garbage that these early humans were throwing away because they were more tolerant of difference. So you can imagine these early wolves living from a garbage heap, and then that group breeds together, and some even more tolerant wolves appear, and they can stick around humans a little bit more. And gradually, over thousands of years, they became dogs.
Wow. I've never looked at it from that point of view. I've always looked at it like a human taming an animal, like a wild horse, right? That is crazy. So you're saying that it's kind of their fault too.
Yeah. They wanted to be with us and we wanted to be with them.
Well, think about our dogs. Like my dog lives the best life. Attention at
you're
all
saying
hours
even
of the day.
you're
Like they
saying,
reach their evolutionary peak.
Yeah.
Like They're
No,
treated like kings
I never.
and queens.
Yeah, but I never looked at it like that. Like those dogs that you're saying way back in the day were like, it's a little bit of a better life over here. It's a little warmer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's better food, and let's start migrating this way. They're not. It doesn't seem like they're going to be too mean to us. They're not going to eat us, right?
But the only ones who could do that were the individuals that had this mutation that allowed them to feel more tolerant towards difference.
And I guess it goes full circle because when those little puppies were born, they were super cute.
Yeah.
And so, the humans would bring them in.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I guess in a nutshell, how has cuteness really affected your life outside of academia? I mean, do you find anything that cuteness has done specifically to you now that you're so aware of it?
I think it's certainly made me more attentive to animals, like domesticated animals. I just pay closer attention to my cat, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's affected the way I think of other people as well. I mean, I think I'm a little bit more tolerant and more of other people. I think I try to figure out where they're coming from a bit more deeply than before.
And this is because of the empathy that you're realizing of the cuteness around you is building more empathy inside of you.
Yeah, I think that might be it. Because of the nature of my work, I feel the emotion of cuteness quite often. That's one of the fun things about doing this, investigating this area.
And you're radiating right now, by the way, just talking about it. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's true.
This is crazy.
And in my mind, cuteness is really highly associated with sociality, with being social with other people and with animals. And so I think that studying it has affected me and made me more social.
I mean, we're literally sitting here in a Snoopy cafe,
Mm-hmm.
and there are like Snoopies everywhere. And all around us, there are people just taking photos with Snoopy.
Yeah.
It might be some fandom involved, but the fandom was built through the cuteness of Snoopy. I mean, that's it.
I've noticed quite a few of these Snoopies have lipstick stains. They have been highly loved by the tourists, people visiting this cafe.
But these are all positive aspects, right? Do you see it being weaponized in any way? I mean, could there be a cuteness weapon in the future where, our enemies come in with cuteness guns and then everyone becomes so lovey-dovey and there's no wars anymore? Like, I mean, is it possible?
Yeah, sure. I'll give you an example. Sony has a robot dog called the Aibo.
Yeah.
And they're doing their best to make it so that people won't get bored with their robot dog. This is the big problem with these things. So they say that it will develop its own personality based on its interactions with you over time. And this might be true. They're trying their best. But what I'm seeing is that now we have generative AI that's come in.
Mm-hmm.
So I started thinking, what happens when we have a robot dog that has seen and absorbed every cute video ever uploaded to YouTube or TikTok, which is in the hundreds of millions? They would be able to charm you with cuteness in just an infinite number of ways. So every time you start to get bored, your robot dog could do a new trick that you've never seen before, or could appeal to you and make you think it's cute in a completely different way than it ever has. So I think that weaponized cuteness will seduce us.
God, could you imagine?
I'm already there. Coincidentally, I did a story on Aibo, this robot dog, a few years ago, and met people across America whose lives revolved around Aibo. Like I'm telling you, on the weekends, they would take him on the convertible and the robot dog would drive in the back seat. And that was the experience for the robot dog. It wasn't for that.
Oh no, my brain went like maybe 3000, like terrorists. They don't use bombs anymore. They use like cute little robot animals and they send them into the country. And you just are shocked with cuteness and everyone's like So and at the end of the day, I think that cuteness, as with a lot of things, is great for you. But I think maybe overconsumption could be a bad thing.
Well, certainly if you are
like as a distraction level,
sure.
Like the phone's a great thing, but I find myself, I have to put it down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're endlessly watching cute videos instead of working, then it's not good. But on the other hand, studies show that if you watch cute videos for just a few minutes and then go back to work, you'll feel less stress.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Tell me about that.
Reduces stress and anxiety.
How does someone do that in the real world? Like they're at the office, they pull up. I mean, should we open up just a cute TikTok?
right now.
No, like that's the idea. Someone's going to sell, whoever's out there, just give me some credit for this. A social media app just for cuteness. You just pick it up, you get your fix, you go down, you start working again. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and we already have it. It's called #cute.
Okay. Of course. You were talking about, I keep going back to the dog thing because I think it's just like, it's easy to understand, right? That there were these animals that were wolves that turned into dogs, and then over in the 19th century turned into, cute little Snoopies, basically. And this is basically what a cute little Shih Tzu looks like, or whatever dog this may be. Do you think that that's happening to us as humans?
Okay. Yeah, well, it's questions like this that made me write a book about this subject.
Okay, tell us the name of the book first.
The name of the book is Irresistible: How Cuteness Wired Our Brains and Conquered the World.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's just questions like this that got me started. Is cuteness continuing to affect human evolution? I think it's likely that it is, but human evolution takes place over a long time span. And so we won't know the results of this for quite a long time, I think. But it's a really interesting thought experiment to think about how cuteness might be further influencing human evolution. But the point I would want to make is that mostly cuteness has already affected our evolution. I think that cuteness is one of the things that made us become human in the first place. And this is a species-wide conclusion that I've come to. Everyone is already cute. I mean, think about Neanderthals. Neanderthals
This is blowing
had
my mind.
big eyebrow ridges. And,
Hey, don't talk about eyebrows with me.
eyebrow ridges, the bone behind the eyebrows.
Yeah. It's like,
Yes.
yeah.
We're cuter than Neanderthals, Homo sapiens,
Yeah.
cuter than Neanderthals. And I think the reason is that we went through the same process that made wolves become dogs. I think we domesticated ourselves.
Holy shit.
Neanderthals are not our direct ancestor. Our direct ancestor is more like a wolf to a dog, and similar to the way the Neanderthal was to us.
Yeah. And so you're saying that we kept breeding with cuter and cuter versions of ourselves to end up where we are today.
Yeah, I think it began with behavioral difference, like we talked about with dogs. There were a few humans who had this mutation that made them more tolerant of others and more peaceful. We're still quite violent, but we are not as violent as, say, chimpanzees.
Mm-hmm.
And so those more tolerant people bred together and made more tolerant people.
Because
and
they were attracted to them,
Yeah,
basically.
that's right.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you like a mate who doesn't beat you up? I mean, I know that still happens in human societies, but
No, but I understand what
yeah,
you're saying.
yeah.
You're saying there's personality traits
Yes.
that we find more attractive. Well, I'm not even talking physical at this point, but physicality probably has a big play in the cuteness as well too, right?
So what happened, I think, is that these behavioral traits people found attractive were connected on a genetic level to neotenous traits, which means juvenile characteristics that persist into adulthood. These are the traits that make us cuter than Neanderthals.
Oh my
We have
God.
these round heads. We have eyes that stand out more because we don't have the eyebrow ridges. We have these physical cute traits that I think can be linked back to these behavioral traits. And that's what made us human. This is a theory that's garnered a lot of attention in recent years, and there's more and more evidence about it. It's not completely accepted yet, but I think we're getting there.
Are you saying that really, really cute humans are nicer on the inside?
Remember, I said that this change had already happened. It's already affected our evolution 100,000 years ago.
Yeah.
We're all cute in this sense.
Okay, got
Yeah.
it. Okay, got it. Okay, now I understand what you're saying. We are really cute compared to Neanderthals.
Yes.
Neanderthals.
As a species.
As a species.
As humanity.
Okay, I was
as
just
a
thinking
whole.
because I've met some really crazy chicks in my life. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Not my wife. I'm saying really cute crazies. You know what I mean?
Can't extrapolate it to an individual level. It's only species-wide.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating to think that at the core of it, cuteness has changed the course of humanity and this world.
That's what I think, yes.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's prevalent everywhere you look. And it's kind of underlying.
I know, but I'm sorry, I'm getting excited about this. This really gets me. When you think of cuteness, you think of Snoopy. You think of, little puppies.
Right.
You do not think about all of us being cute compared to what was before us, right? And it dictating or pressuring or like putting us in a certain direction to end up here. At the core of it, your study is saying cuteness could be a very, very big factor in that.
Yeah, if you think about it, the amount of all the cute things that surround us, the amount of the Snoopies and the other things people try to sell us, the Hello Kitties and the Mickey Mouse, that testifies to how powerful the psychological impulse is in human beings. And I think the reason it has that power is because it made us human in the first place. And it's always been with us.
Wow. This is fascinating because we're getting to the crux of it now. We've gotten to the crux of this entire conversation and why you are doing what you're doing and the importance of it. I think, and again, you've probably heard this a million times, say someone studying cuteness, think maybe you're a little bit of quack, to be honest, right? I mean, I'm not trying to be rude in any way. I thought it was fascinating. That's why we're sitting here. But I can assume that people are like, what is this guy talking about? But when you really dive into it and explain the studies that you're doing, I mean, we're only here because we could have been an entirely different species.
Exactly.
I mean, that's crazy, right? And then, one last thing. And then it literally has transformed into what everything transforms into, consumerism and capitalism, which is at the end of not the end, but the current state of our evolutionary cycle.
Exactly, yes.
Holy shit. Because, a lot of things are innate, right? Like fear or envy or greed or happiness or whatever. And I just think cuteness is innate as well, I guess.
Yes, that's what I think. Yeah.
I feel like we should there should be more of it. I mean, I'm starting, because, one of the first things I said when I came to the gym, like, everybody's so nice. I might not understand anything that people are saying to me, but everyone's polite. Everyone is nice. Everyone steps out of the way. And then guess what? You start stepping out of the way and you start doing things because guess what? Everyone around you is doing them.
Do you see a correlation between that at all?
Well, I think that one reason that cuteness took root in the arts in Japan over a long period of time is that because people liked it. And it was something, centuries ago, Japan didn't have very high literacy, right? And it was something that everyone could understand because they could all feel it. So what connection that has to Japanese society now, I mean, and then it's really hard to say.
I was just bringing it up because he said empathy, he said compassion, and we came to the conclusion that cuteness has been part of the culture in Japan for centuries. And I'm just I'm connecting the dots in my own mind. Obviously, it can be in relation to, it might not be specifically corresponding, but, there might be something that is, that, listen,
I got it.
There's not as much cute stuff in America, and it's not nice over there.
Well, in Japan, it is really important for people to get along with each other. That's a cultural value that everyone wants to express. And it's not easy. It's hard. It's just as hard for Japanese people to get along with each other as it is for Americans. But there's more of a cultural imperative to do so here. And cuteness is one of the things that can act as a social lubrication and help people get along. Because if one person says that something is kawaii and you agree, then you've agreed on something and you're feeling the same thing. So it's an act of communication.
Yeah, and I actually was going a little bit different with that because I think you're absolutely right about that as well too. When you come to like similarities or agreements on something, it's like, oh, we're the same kind of thing, right? But I was thinking more like the subway signs are all cute,
right?
The police signs are cute. There's cute logos everywhere. There's cute. I mean, it does make you happy. I mean, I'm just thinking like maybe these people are just walking around like smiling and that's on purpose, by design.
Right. That's a relatively recent phenomenon, the public aspect of cuteness in Japan, last 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
And I think that they started doing it because it works. And one of the things they're doing with that is they're expressing rules to you in a way that's more inoffensive. Because the posters on the subway are safety posters telling you stay back from the platform. And they think you're more inclined to obey if a cute character is telling you to do that, rather than a stern-faced station attendant.
Yeah, but it's almost opposite of what you think, because you don't think of cuteness as an authority.
I don't necessarily know if the cuteness works from an authoritative perspective. You've just kind of opened up my brain a little bit. If the people or the culture is not accepting of it, right? I feel like I'm just using America because, there are some dangerous things going on over there all the time. And it's part of the culture, You know what I mean? There's robberies, there's assault. I'm not saying there's none here, but there's a lot over there, you know. And I don't know if there's a little guy saying,
If it's gonna make a difference.
I don't know if they're gonna listen. You know what I mean? Like you need to put the fear of God into those people. You know?
Well, that's the reason that this has only existed in Japan for the last 20 years or so, is that they already had this culture of cuteness to build upon.
Yeah.
And then it started going public. So maybe the US is just not quite as far along that evolutionary path.
Yeah. That's a nice
We'll
way
get
of
there.
saying.
Yeah.
It's a nice way of saying it.
We're a little behind over there.
We love to do a speed round at the end of every conversation. Just first thing that comes to mind, you answer it, don't even think.
Okay.
If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live and why?
Oh, I'm already living in the place I want to live in.
So Japan.
And Tokyo in particular. I really like this city.
And why?
It's always exciting. There's always something new and different around the corner. It's always changing. And yet there's these elements of the past that are perfectly preserved here. It's endlessly fascinating.
Beautiful. What makes you happiest?
I think what makes me happiest now probably is my cat. And what I'd like to do in the future is have more close relationship with animals. That's where
awesome.
I think I'll take Cute Studies for my own purposes in the next direction.
What are you most scared of?
War, violence,
Okay,
very
I'll take
anti-cute
it.
This is a
things.
good place to be.
Yeah.
What is your biggest regret?
I can't think of a biggest regret,
Okay.
actually.
It's a good sign. Where can we find you? Like Instagram handles, just any sort of information that you want people to come and reach you at?
Well, I'm at cutestudies.org as the website.
Mhm.
And the book is Irresistible, How Cuteness Wired Our Brains and Conquered the World.
I knew it was going to be fascinating. I didn't know where it was going to end up. And I think that my mind is completely blown and I'm going to be looking at the world differently now that I've had this conversation with you, which is the biggest compliment I can give anybody.
Oh, thanks very much for the interview. This was really great. And I actually was going to say this when we were off air, but you're an excellent interviewer.
Oh, thank
And
you
I
very
really
much.
liked your enthusiasm and also your perceptive questions. That was fantastic.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
All right. Okay, well, the next time you're looking in the mirror and you don't feel so cute, just remind yourself that you're not a Neanderthal. Thank you for listening. No Fixed Address, the world's most extraordinary people, is presented by Matador Network.
Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. We release new episodes every other Thursday.